I was having an issue with a replacement cover for a Panasonic exhaust fan in a bathroom. And this is too large for this old Panasonic fan. The old Panasonic fan, it's about like an 11.5 by 11.5. And the cover was about like 10.5 by 10.5. This one's an inch too big. And what was happening was these weren't lining up, the little springs, and like it wouldn't get flush because the springs were basically, these little nubs here would get caught when it would go up because it's too wide, and it would sit like this. It wasn't flush, it would stop like that. So what I'm doing is, so you can see I'm hacksawing off right here these little nubs. Let's see if we can get to focus. Hacksawing off these little nubs to make them a little more flush. Here's one I haven't done yet. And what this is going to do is when I put the springs in, it's not going to catch on like the black lip of this exhaust fan, and hopefully it'll sit flush. Let's see what happens. Would be a nice fix because I know there's a lot of people out there who have these older exhaust fans and have an ugly cover and they just want to replace the cover, but they don't make it in that size anymore. So let's see what we can do. So now I've gotten these springs to sit a little bit lower. What's going to happen is this little clasp here is going to have this spring sit lower in this little groove right here. Now that I've made these a little more flush. So if you look at this, it's going to sit a lot more flush. Before it was raised up a little bit because I hadn't cut these, and we'll see what happens. So I'm looking at it now, and it does sit a little more flush than it did originally, but there's still like a tiny little gap. And so I think I can actually make that go away. If you see the gap here, see that? I want it to be flush like that. Same over here. It's just, it can't get quite flush. If you take a look at this, this is catching on this black part, because remember, it is too wide. And so you can see what's going to happen. I can't show it, I can't close all the way, or else you won't be able to see it. But basically you can see what's going to happen here is this little screw is going to catch on this black metal part there, and it basically stops it from getting absolutely flush. And you might think I'm being a stickler about it, but you know, why not? It should look good. It just can't close all the way. So what we need to buy is, honestly, I'm going to say like 2 millimeters more depth on this little screw here, on this little nubbin here that's screwing into right here. But I might need to chisel this part down right here a little more. So let's try chiseling this so this can actually fall down 2 more inches, 2 more millimeters. We'll cut this down 2 more millimeters. Hopefully that will solve the problem. So just to review, we want to take this part and make it come down 2 millimeters. And then this little groove here also needs to come down 2 millimeters. And that should fix it, because that's what the clip that holds the spring, and we're going to bring it down a little bit further so it's flush. Okay, so I'm going to take the Dremel and I'm going to actually carve this portion down that we were talking about. Get this out of the way. Okay, then I'm going to take this portion down a little bit. Not the right tool for this. Actually, use a different tool. So let's make sure we get the other side first. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, I got a sanding tool, and I know there's probably better tools to do this with, but this is what I got right now, and I want to do it quick. Works pretty well. both sides. Okay, that should be good. We'll see how it works. So now I have the clips back on here. So hopefully this will work. Put them back in. Knock the ground down. Just need to get flush. And we're worse than before. So let's see what's going on here. Well, now maybe the springs themselves are getting caught. We can fix that though. There we go. Push it in a little more. So because I have OCD, I decided to take this even further so I could bend the spring inward. So you can see kind of here's where it started. And now I cut this like big kind of crescent out of the plastic with my Dremel. And as you can see, it allows me to bend the spring inward just a little bit because I want it to be absolutely flush. So I'm kind of in the middle of doing this other one over here. Done one side already, just got to clean it up a little bit on the other side. So I have it back up now, and it is flush, I feel. That's kind of the way I want it. What I did too is I tightened up the springs a little bit. I pulled the springs apart so it'll be a little bit tighter and kind of like suck it up to the wall there. So that is retrofitting a new exhaust vent. Looks good.